We got our wonderful Hap and M tickets through it. Enjoy.
Shall I do it, just despite Derry?
Yeah.
The real winners are the viewers right here.
And me.
And Emmy, because she got a pen
I
again.
got a pen. To write things down. What am I going to write down? How about, is Citizen going to break the kill record? 2 kills.
2 kills.
2 kills.
To
I
even
almost
out,
just
to
swore
even it.
I did it. I was going like that. And
Isn't it just a swear word to, not swear word, but just a swear towards Brits?
no, well, kind of, but it was originally the English to the French. Yes. It was by Longbowmen.
I know, you've told me, because I did it before.
I still got these 2 fingers. Nah, 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 nah. Because the French would capture the superior English longbowmen.
Okay, yes.
Are you listening? This is going to be on the test later.
I've already heard the story once, and then it would cut off those 2 fingers.
Then it would cut off those fingers. So it was like, haha, I can still shoot my bow.
Because these 2 have the most strength.
And this will be on the final, everybody. So please make sure you study. Otherwise...
On the grand final, by the way. Just
I will have to suspend you all.
Not just give them an break, straight up suspension.
I'm tough but fair. I'm firm. I'm
Yes.
a strong teacher.
Okay.
That's a whole. I feel like Miloš would be a fantastic teacher. Miloš is a fantastic
I think Miloš
teacher.
should.
It's not that Miloš would be. Miloš is a fantastic teacher.
I think Miloš, if he would be in class, like in front of a class, instead of like opening up the books, he would just like pick out a movie or a song.
No, I don't think he would pick out a movie, but he would definitely be the sort of teacher that would put his hands together and say, "Today we're studying outside." You know, like it's a lovely day. Let's study outside. That's Miloš.
We've only had that once in my life.
Des would teach business.
Yeah.
Ace is the head teacher, I think. I get those sort of vibes.
Or like, I mean, yes, possibly. Or HR. Just not.
If
teacher,
you go to a school that has HR,
is that not? Okay.
I don't think so. What I do think is these are pretty familiar bands. Whoa, whoa, whoa! What's that? Okay, maybe not. Smoke. Gone. And the removal there. The Valkyrie sort of played out. No hard destruct bands at all, but obviously the limitation is the Thatcher. But Monty, as you said, Monty as a removal there, because to be fair, when things weren't really connecting for G2, that was the operator that they went to. That was the operator that they sort of fell back to, was something to give them a little bit more momentum. So cleverly, BDS have gone, well, not only should we pull it out of their play on this map, but it's something where if it is a crutch, or not a crutch, if it is something that makes them feel comfortable, let's make G2 feel as uncomfortable as possible.
Yeah, for sure. And the Monty was used in that long corridor, right, in green. If you would like to be like, where can you use the Monty here? Well, first, for example, you could just push any room. You could go for strip first, or especially the garage on the mezzanines. It's just a very tight mezzanine you need to walk on. I like this this hatch being opened up, by the way. That is just purely for the yokai drone of Kayak to jump out of it to provide some information on potential people repelled up onto or on top of the roof. You'll see it in a second, I'm sure.
So, an approach is now going to be made here as, once again, we have BDS leaning in and leading on their attacks. And it's been a bit of a hit and miss story, but if it was 2 in the first map, it was 3 in the second. If they can try and thread 4 here, or even try and match what they did before, that puts them in a pretty good stead, because obviously either way, it's generally going all the way. So the early game might be something where if they can get some of the solidity, they can get it locked off. Alems is waiting for an Echo drone to pop up through that strip club hatch. Waiting for one to just fly in the air, get some intel, and take care of it, but it's not coming.
No, it might have been just a bait, you know. Could be that they have some impacts left. Use it to at least give them the ID that there will be a yokai drone jumping up there. Because it is something that has been done before, yokais. And as we're just waiting to see the push happen right now, it is G2 that does have that top floor hold. They do have the side under control, and it's BDS that needs to start approaching to it. Small rotations are being created as the Maverick opens up some lines of sight to potentially get grenades through. In the meantime, BD will open up onto the rear stage.
Well, Hungary is waiting for some aggression to come across here, and it's worth pointing out that obviously a minute 30's changed hands, and we haven't really seen anything entirely lock off in terms of a confrontation until now. And Shiro gets the opener there against Kayak, a player who massively stepped up in the second map and is going to start the drive here on the third. They have a bit of intel and a read on Citizen, who's just playing on this back power position here, trying to get some solidity either side of the little bit of exposed brickwork, but the exposed player might be him in just a moment. Virtue's underneath, working the heart scanner to see if they can find anything on the pulse as the spray comes through, but look at this, the rotation background from Jonker. He's going to open up an angle and sort of hope for a bit of aggression here as Shaiko's got some attention and lockdown here. They're trying to push these final two GT players out from the top.
Yeah, they definitely want to do so as well, but in the meantime, they're looking to go for a potential plant. It will be the bathroom that gets opened up, but Shaiko is looking to swing around the bedroom, but gets almost his head taken off right here. 40 seconds are left on the clock, and they need to go for a plant very soon. More grenades are being expelled into that bathroom. Bride is just waiting for the call to start pushing through, and I'm not quite sure if they have any yokai still in a position where they can try and deny that plant.
Well, now they're going to see if they can drag the stick down. Hungary loses a very important firefight there as Bride is able to make the connection with the floor. They can't quite get the recollection that they want to here, and Yonka's suffering from every which way, and Citizen is at least able to get an opener here. Takes care of the player on the backside, but Bride means that he's the only player left, and Alems locks it off on the far side. BDS open up with an attack.
They open up the attack indeed, managed to get Bar under their control. G2 most likely will not be following up with that one again to run it back. Positive part of the round is that Citizen got yet another kill, so that means he's 1 away from evening out the current record. 49 from Nesk, 2 away from breaking it. Church Arsenal up next. BDS, they start off strong on their attack here. Of course, it is considered a tertiary site for many, or not even played at all. Mira gets changed out to a Pulse yet once again, so we're not seeing the Mira interplay yet. And she's an operator that is quite useful on some of the sites. Not so sure about her use on the bottom floor. Normally we would see the Mira windows revolve around the blue side of things, but the impact is limited there. And as everything is being set up yet once again, G2, they could have locked it out during Bang. They had 3 rounds that they had the clear advantage in. A 4v1 clutch from Shaiko, a 4v2 where they threw it away due to a lack of time, and another round where a minute they just stared at a wall and had no clue how to open it. If any of those 3 would have gone the other way, it would have been over by now. We would have been in the post-show. Everybody making jokes together, you know, choosing someone to roast, because that's usually how it goes. But no, we're in map 3 now, so... Oh. There's a bit of a visual thing there. Either way, G2. Can they find a defensive round here quickly? Because they need to find at least 3, I would say. At least 3.
And it starts with 1, and now the game so far, they've at least been able to get an opening round from the opening 2 both times. BDS took the first last time, and G2 had an instant response here. They're going to double down with a different site and see if they can make the connection elsewhere, but the pressure's coming through from BDS quite quick. They've got their eyes on the prize. They sort of had the read on obviously the hold and the strategy that was being put forward, and look at this. They're just cutting it in half. Only about 40 seconds has passed, and already they're trying to eye up the push down blue here. They're already setting themselves up, and Renshiro is just going to creep all the way down, and look at the G2 players that are all off site. If this goes quick, that could be devastating.
There's 3 players currently off site. Hungary gets a first though. Shaiko gets locked off. A bit of information being gained here by Alems though, who's looking to open up on these castle barricades, but knows it's a very dangerous business as his feet are being spotted out. Spots the player there, but takes more damage than he deals. And Hungary lives for now. Nitro being tossed over might actually pick up that kill. No, not the case. Grenade, however, does take care of the castle barricade.
Alems realizes he cannot quite take that fight. There's 2 bodies, 2 players, and maybe he only expected 1, but it's going to be the call to pull away. They've at least opened it, and that might put a little bit of caution here, but look, ready to go. Swing around the fight. It's over the shield and over the top. The call will come through, and the first drop goes their favor. Yonka's caught out in the spray. Doesn't quite get the connection. There it is. Kayak over the top of the shield for 1. Can't find the second, but there's Virtue with 1 more, and Virtue with 1 more. Rafale is all that's left, and Citizen equals the kill record for a series in Siege.
And that means that in the next couple of rounds, maximum 10 for regulation, but potentially 13. Or maybe even 6, depends on how quick it goes. Somewhere between 6 and 13 rounds.
It could be a multi... there could be different results.
Find a singular kill.
In the game.
There could be many different results.
There could be.
It's just 2 that have been written off so far. Either way, it is going to be an exciting game, that's for sure. We have just traded these rounds. G2, their defense on that bottom floor seem to be a lot stronger than their bar hold. And now we're heading to another quite default site. CCTV cache. Certainly something or a place that everybody knows how to attack, and it usually revolves around a couple of steps. First of all, you open up the window on the plateau, or not the window, the wall on the plateau. Maybe put some pressure from the window if they're actively trying a trick that just got shown, and as soon as you've done that, normally the pressure onto the garage comes on, because if you have garage control, you have the plateau under control with an opening that you can use, then suddenly you have a free opportunity to plant right behind the service stack. The big difficulty in this, though, is often the player on mezzanines. It is a heavily fortified position. You can see it here as well. You have Kayak out there. There's going to be 2 ADSs, if not 3 deployed. Potentially even some magnets to come into play as well. And Electroclaws as well, just to make sure that those 2 bottom garage walls do stay closed. And does she have to use a lot of utility to get rid of just that one player? But it's a very important player in position.
So how do you force out this backline player? Is that a way that you can sort of dig yourself onto rafters, maybe put a bit of pressure on quickly, as we're seeing here, the Maverick instantly going underneath the mirror window, sort of flaunting with the idea of I don't really care if you've done that. They're going to see if they can make G2 slip up on a banana by default, like what was said earlier by Fresh
indeed.
On the desk. Not Kayak, he's playing the game. He hasn't said anything on the desk. In fact, he's on the cams, watching and waiting for the approach to come through here. I try and throw herself a reference to Fresh and everything just
falls apart.
See,
they didn't open the wall completely, but they have the lines aside, and that will be the most important part, I think, for BDS. The mirror window has been opened up. They have that line from the Maverick they can use to fire through, or at least spot people through. And the next point of approach for BDS will be to get that garage under control. Now, there's multiple ways to do that. Sometimes you would see a Monty to push up, but as that one has been banned out, it's no longer an option, unless they will have to resort to potential grenades to be tossed through. Maverick will also be opening up, because of course these Electroclaws stop any of the other hard breaches to do so. And now, in a position where they can actually start getting these grenades in.
There's a catch, there's an explosion, and there's a surviving player able to move away. Hungary is just out of reach and range with Shaiko underneath as they clear themselves a little bit further out. But look at Citizen. He's making a bit of a move now around the bar side. He's going to try and put some pressure here onto the fight underneath. If he can catch them on Lounge, unaware, it could be quite big, but he hasn't quite been able to get into the aggression as of yet. He's got to strike at the perfect time as the pressure starts to come towards the rafters. More explosions, more explosives, and more pressure that comes through. Kayak cannot quite slip away. But Citizen and Hungry are both here in a huge power position. There's the fight. He cannot get the connection back around the back stairs, but Citizen does find Shaiko. Virtue does find Rafal. And Kayak is still down. But they've kept this pressure and presence around Lounge, and suddenly all this garage control is nowhere near as confident as it once was, and now it's non-existent.
Virtue with a great kill there as they try to push up. Bride thinking about doing the same, but also knows that it will be a very difficult and different move that he needs to pull off here. He needs to go by quickly. Successfully done that, but his position is given away by the Banshee. There's also still going to be that down player that gets confirmed now. Kayak out of play. 2 on 3. One member still quite low on the side of G2, but with a Nitro in hand, and that one will be key. It's going to be in a default position here, but Bride goes for an alternate plant spot here next to the door. So Citizen needs to swing around.
He takes the pre-fire. He doesn't quite slip all the way past, but there's the pickup. There it is, and Renshiro locks himself in with a gun that has a seemingly endless amount of bullets. He makes sure the one he shoots matter.
Yeah, if you use the LMG, you're not going to be reloading anytime soon with 150 bullets in the belt. Not just the 100 that other LMGs have, just that 150. It just continues going on. You're never really out of the action there. And Renshiro Well, make sure that that round is locked in for BDS, and G2 only left with one for now, are going to be running it back up to that CCTV cache. It could have been theirs if Hungary would have, first of all, hit the shot in garage, second of all, gotten the kill on Renshiro that was dug in close. Of course, they expected the plan to be right behind the default, behind server stack. We talked about it before, but due to the C4 still being in play, BDS called to go deeper because they had that control. They just took out a player out there. That gives them the opportunity to do so. Now, we head up to the run it back. CCTV cache. G2 have the opportunity to change some of their setup. It seems like it hasn't much. Same Electroclass, same ADS is really coming down. Just wondering where the mirror windows will be deployed.
Citizen opening up himself some routes that he might be able to strike fear back in. You assume Shaiko is going to be a little bit more aware and maybe have a little bit more of a lockdown on that play, but it was 3 different G2 players that struck back. It was a bold and a brave move, and it came through for them. And now it's down to BDS to prove that they have an awareness before that might happen again. Here, they're still setting themselves up wide, and there it is, the play and the plant on the pre-placed drones to make sure that they have all of the intel that might come through against them otherwise. They're still ready and still raring to go against the CC wall as quick as possible, and there's not really any counter that's coming towards it as of yet. Rafale breaks open the top, Bride has the lockdown on the run out on the far side, and with the Claymore underneath them, they're pretty comfortable to do this. But as you said, it's step 1, and there's a lot of steps left.
Yeah, that wall will fall. That is almost always the case. At least some form of opening will be created in there, and as you now see, it has turned soft. Lifeline could be used with the impact to open it up fully, but the question, of course, is does BDS want that? If it's not going to be their main entry point into the site, there's no need to fully open it up and give the line of sight towards the defenders. You can just as well just keep it close as much as they currently have, but make sure it's wall bangable so you could go for the headshots. Either way, Rafale starts to open up yet once again into that garage because step 2 is underway. They need to get rid of the player on the mezzanines. And they'll do so with, of course, a bunch of grenades. Something they did the last time as well. You try and force him out. Might and maybe take the gunfight as a result. You should be able to clear it out as of that.
Well, there's that pre-placed drone. Still Shaiko watching the flank, and Kayak has some survivability, but it's about to become dangerous as everything starts to get burned and exploded all around him. He's blinded, more grenades, and that one gets the lockdown. It's a situation that's always going to be broken open sooner rather than later, and unfortunately for him, no route through. The 3 players, 4 grenades, and many flashes that were thrown his way. Still, one in the pocket of Rafale, and still a flash potentially to try and swing up else here, but with Citizen going for the slow creep round, you can see Shaiko is still on drone, still waiting for this push, sees the pre-fired bullets, has the call and the intel, and Citizen has no way through right now, and it's a big dedication just to stop one flank, but this is what it allows. This garage control, this confidence that BDS just did not have before.
Yeah, for sure, and there's also not going to be a C4 into play now, at least not from below. Of course, Hungary still carries one, can try and toss it over, but there's going to be the opportunity to just snipe it out as it comes through. Now, a lot of utilities being used. Renshiro gets yet another killed Citizen that got caught off. I'm not quite sure what that angle was, all the way through that wall, through the second wall as well, into logistics. But that is going to be putting G2 down with yet another man in a 3-on-5 right now, which is looking very good for BDS.
But 15 seconds, and they've got to see if they can make this execute come together. Bride's going for the plant, and Yonka has Rafale covered. It's a swing round, and it's an important take there as the C4's over the top, but they can't quite find the connection, and now it's Virtue dancing either side. Is the only player left, and he's got to get through 3 more, but it only takes 1 to have the cover. BDS find the 2nd in a row.
In the lead here as well, and you mentioned it when we just started out Clubhouse. They got 2 in their first attack, they got 3 on their second map, and now they're looking for more. They're looking for 4, as they're currently up 3-1. Just a singular round away from that. Church Arsenal will be chosen. G2 going back to the one side. They have one to see if they can potentially lock out yet another. You got to keep in mind, it was due to the fact that that roam worked out so well, the roam that they're currently not going to be using. There's no castle on the board. This might be more of a turtle, which hasn't really worked out too well for them in the previous couple of rounds.
It is Club. It plays itself well to attackers. It plays itself well to bringing stuff together. There's no denying that. But at the same time, I think the comparison of BDS here versus every other time we've seen them on the tech so far, this is easily the best they've seen. They're quick. They're responding to each other. And most importantly, they're responding to what G2 are putting forward. It's not that G2's stuff is not sort of stretching them or pushing them. It's just seemingly the most in hand that BDS have been able to sort of hold on to G2 throughout the showdown so far. And, you know, you're wondering if we'll start to see a stretch somewhere and where we might start to see it. They've already gone for their explorations and gone for deep diving on other sides of the map. How can they bring themselves a little bit more success than just down here, even if they can keep it just down here?
I think this BDS is more like, that we're currently seeing on Club, it's more like the BDS that we're used to be seeing in a European league against any team, really, where they just lock you off. It's not necessarily you doing something wrong. It's just they lock you out. They find the angles, they do manage to get the kills, and just continue to go on from there, because there's not much that could have gone wrong on the rafters. It's just a bunch of utility being tossed at you there. What can you do? Nothing, really.
Kayaks were waiting for the approach here of Renshiro, but Renshiro is droning pretty thoroughly.
Yeah.
Not going to fall for that. And I actually went for the pre-fire, expecting the C4 to come through either way, but actually they're just going to pull away because there's still a lot of opportunity here. And that's the thing about this site, and that's one of the things about how it becomes a total defense, is it used to only really be a total defense. It offers you a lot of width. It offers you a lot of soft above you to try and cause some problems here. And there is, sure, not many routes out once you're forced down there, but you can get creative in how you try and hold it off and hold them off.
Trying to get some more information out. A bunch of drones are being tossed into those main stairs, but not quite able to get a connect yet. Citizen returns fire. Just to find a kill as well. That is kill 51 of the series so far. Alem's shut out. That is going to be the opening that G2 might need to start building towards this next round.
Well, as they start to break their way open down towards the site itself, they have a lot of time, BDS, and they've been pretty good at making things count when they need to, and we saw them lose the opener here the last time round, and obviously it didn't quite come together, but it was still scrappy, and it was still a fight. It was about a 2 or 3 versus 1 by the end of things, but they were at least in sight, and they were causing problems, which is something that we don't often see when G2 are a little bit more stretched and strapped for time. The mirror window on the instant call-out is just going to give them the idea that someone's very close, and as they're trying to burn their way through, it's the pop, the dance, and the grenade that almost forces them out, but the Hibana that's really going to cement it. Citizen, one more for the tally, the spray round onto the fake, but the drop of the mirror window just opens it up for Virtue to now put them into a 5 versus 2.
Good call to stay aggressive there. He knew it was going to be in his advantage, as he, of course, already knew where the Maverick was at that point. Maverick had no opportunity, Rafal that is, to lock into him before. This is only up to Brede now. Bottom of blue will be spotted here. Pings are coming out. He knows exactly where one is, but there's so many more members on the side of G2. Finds the first, though. Junker taken out, but still needs to go for the ace clutch. Finds another one before he gets taken out by Citizen, who is now on kill 52.
I was just thinking there, I don't think across this whole series we've had a single flawless round.
Well, it looked like we might see one back when we had that 1v4 clutch.
That wouldn't have been a flawless.
No, but right beforehand it seemed like it could have been a flawless round to come through, but it was just a kill on the entry and etc, etc. Either way, tactical timeout from G2 to be called right before the house switch this time instead of during the house switch. Means that they want to make sure that they get this last round in as well. They want to lock this off on a 3-3, not that 4-2. Potentially Shaz using the next 30 seconds of his tactical timeout to, of course, prepare them for the second half. But as they're all clearly listening, seeing what they need to do to get a win out of this clubhouse. Because so far, BDS, they have been looking quite strong.
I think that's it, as I said, although this is a map that can lend itself well to attackers, BDS have looked the sharpest that they've looked. Yeah. And G2, sure, they know that they'll have a bit of the attackers going in their favor, and sure, they've had a good day attacking today. Their little mistakes were on their attack side. Those little rounds that could have ended the series on map 2, but have brought us to this third map, were on their attack side. They have to have a little bit more in their favor here, just on the turn of the half. They cannot really go into it on the 4 versus 2 because that difference on the previous map wouldn't have been going to OT to fight it all the way tooth and nail. It would have been over during the main show. And they're doing everything to try and keep this game going, keep themselves in with a chance of first or second place.
That's it. Should have been locked out for G2, but BDS are the ones that really brought back their momentum now. And also with 3 rounds already here on Clubhouse, looking to find a 4th. Might be the ones to be in favor as well. And I think that, by the way, how Bank went, I think many people would have written down G2 as the winner afterwards. Especially by how their attacks have went. It's just that we saw 3 incredible
This was
clutches.
filthy.
That was filthy, yeah, it definitely was. I'm not sure if it was a pre-fire or if... No, it spotted in the pixel.
I didn't see that.
I didn't see it either, but it's like
Without
it wasn't
the
long
highlight.
enough to not be a pre-fire. But it's like, yeah, it's definitely, it's a filthy shot. Anyway, gym and bedroom, I believe we are in, but the extension is near CCTV cache. Just to slow down BDS a little bit more. Because when they are given the time, they are absolutely ruthless. And that is something that G2 needs to prevent from happening now. They do not want to go into the next half 4-2, equaling to those 2 rounds behind. Because that might be when they feel the grand final slipping away from them.
G2, your timeout has otherwise been a half-time moment, and here it's a little bit before, and if anything that shows that bout of pressure that you're starting to feel as we get closer and closer to the potential of this being over. Breeder opens up a wall a few centimeters from a player that pulls themselves back into cash. Virtue's going to stack up and pre-fire the angle, but... Oh, no, actually, I think they were trying to get the drone before it got the gate. They could not quite make it.
Second drone used, I believe, for the gate there. So it seems like BDS is using their drones to get rid... No, it's just a single drone that's gone. I'm quite confused. They might have tried to throw Magnet through or something?
I think Breeder with a flash on one. They're waiting for the push on the other. There's a great take by Citizen against Renshiro. Really shouldn't have found it, but at this point... With his day so far, I guess nothing is undoable. Shaiko finds his first for this showdown, and he's going to be trying to bite his way back into this engagement. Takes the top of red, takes some clarity here, and they can start trying to clear across. It's aggressive, and it's already a big bout of play, but look at the time. There's so much for them to work with.
Definitely a lot of time to work with here as Alems is slowly creeping around the bar. It's Citizen waiting for his 55th kill right here, trying to go for it, and we'll find it as well, but not before the kill on Junker came through. 3 on 3. We're still, you know, ticking down on that time. 80 seconds left on the clock. It's plenty of time to work with for BDS here, but they do need to find Citizen at some point. He's hiding all the way in strip. What is he doing there?
He's got nowhere else to be.
Grenade.
Neither does Virtue. Caught out there by Shaiko with a grenade just around the corner, and that's going to be the call for them to try and see if they can retake some solidity here. A minute. And that's the big thing about BDS is they keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And now with the 3 versus 2, they're going to spend some of this time right on the door of the site to see if they can get a last drop of intel on where the players are. Citizens found their way back up to the top. They're going to hold around the top of the main stairs inside the brick corridor and see if they can offer some width to Hungry, who's going to just hop around onto Jim. Instantly suffers. It's such a narrow play space they have, but luckily for them, no more explosives to be able to actually stop them getting an approach through. A wide swing there almost cost them, as Rafal is pretty costly himself, but Brede is on the door, waiting to see if they can swing round. Citizen is the one that they're about to meet, though. Can they get the sliver? Brede deep dives and goes behind for the plant itself. There is the impact on it itself. They're not quite on the default plant, and Rafal is able to get the cement on one, and BDS get the 4-2.
He tries to bring it back there, but Brede was able to slip past and go for that defuse behind the mattress. Nothing really that could be done at that point. You need to swing from the gym, which was, of course, being watched still by the Maverick. And that leaves us with that 4-2. BDS now in a big advantage here, heading over to the defense themselves. CCTV cache to first come out, and G2 this time do not have their tactical timeout to try and instantly shift the tides into their favor. We do see the Finker coming out from Citizen, though. Might want to use that extra bit of HP and less recoil to take these gunfights. I believe he's currently on 55 kills in total in this best of 3 so far. Already is outdone by 6. Outdone Nesk by 6 in that case. Of course, he's still looking to build on that. And if this goes all the way to 15, we might just as well see like a 70 kill record or something to come out. That will be very difficult.
I mean, I think that's the thing here is it's not that he's just beat the record. It's that he is absolutely demolishing it. The fact that he almost got it on map 2.
Yes.
Before heading into the map 3. It's just terrifying.
It is definitely terrifying. That means he has an entire map to improve that record and set the bar to a new standard, which if you're going to say, if it does end up on like 70 kills, it's going to be almost impossible to break. Because normally speaking, if you do get 25 kills per map, right, you would assume that the map was won because that's the 5 whole rounds you got there. So it wasn't the case, of course, on Bank. We did go to a max OT in the end. But yeah, 55 kills, still counting here for Citizen. And let's see how many more he can get.
G2, you have a few rounds to try and pull back here, and as I said, attack is something where it's sort of a little bit hit and miss. The hits are the fact that you've been able to do some very sharp attacks today, and the misses are when we've seen a little bit of classic G2. It's little mistakes, though. And the thing is, it's little mistakes where it's kind of obvious to say this is where things are disconnecting, whereas often on the season where we've seen G2 struggle is it's tough to sort of piece together exactly where things are going wrong, because quite a few things are going wrong. Here, Citizen's going to lead in. Yeah, the suppressor on the Finca, they're going to open up some doors. You know how it goes.
He's been using a lot of suppressors today, actually, on the AUG beforehand as well already. Might be onto something here. Might actually play into a sneaky game style. If you get the jump on someone and they don't know exactly where you are, you don't get any traces that will help you guide them. That one will actually get the Electroclaw. No, Alems took it out. Alems picked up the Electroclaw.
And do you think it was a bait because it didn't?
It might have been a bait, but
no, I think he thought the exothermic was a bait.
Yeah, that's what I think. But it's like it would have gotten the wall closed, but open up now. Either way, it's going to be a good call here for Kayak to at least get that one through. As I managed to get the next exothermic as well. It's going to be the new one deployed, and Kayak too slow right here on the detonation. That means that that one will be tricked, so they don't get the opening into construction.
Renshiro on the roam, round on the backside, and they've been able to get open the CC wall, but for comparison's sake, if I'm going to point out how BDS were very quick, at this point they would have had Garage as well, and that's the sort of difference that we're seeing. That's the problem that we're seeing, and to be fair, they're going for a slightly different take here, and they've been able to find their way through, but with Renshiro still loose on the opposite side, that could turn into a bigger problem. They're waiting for this catch, they're waiting for the fight over Lounge, they're going to spray through, and the pings are still coming towards the top of Garage, but as that gets open, Virtue just deep dives his way through onto the site. Alems finds Kayak, and Virtue finds himself a little bit isolated, but whether they know he's there or not, they're going to find out sooner rather than later. A slow crawl and a fight over either side as Alems gets one more, and just sort of isolated inside. Jonker pushes and Alems for a triple for the round, and at one point you're wondering what's going to lock in, and nothing for Virtue is the answer there. They had an idea, but BDS had a better one.
5-2, BDS is building on to their advantage here. And they are getting very close to a potential lockout. The defense really coming in strong here today. And Church Arsenal will be the next battlefield that will be chosen. G2 need to win around here right now. Citizen unable to find anything really with that. Finca was playing on a bit of a lurker role, you could say. He wasn't really playing entry. He was just waiting for a potential roamer to come to the bottom floor or someone to rotate around so he could catch them off. Neither of which worked, as BDS was quite active on that site and will probably remain to be so on Church Arsenal. Only operators I might see try and rotate out would be Shaiko. Of course, could be going for a potential flank, but he's normally playing on site next to the boiler, for example, as that is such a strong power position for him. Or potentially Renshiro on that Melusi. The rest is kind of needed on that side.
Now that little bit that they needed has turned into a lot of a bit that they needed here, as G2 find themselves unfortunately suffering the wrong end of a big distance. And to be fair, this is, I think, the biggest distance we've seen since they opened up at the very beginning of the day on the very first map. Since then, well, obviously it got close, but BDS couldn't quite lock it out. It was one round short of being able to go into OT, so there's still the possibility, but still, after how tightly contested that middle map was, here was the chance for G2 to keep that pressure up, or BDS to start to turn it up, and they definitely have.
One thing's for certain, though, as G2 looks to be going aggressive here. They have made some major improvements over their off time. Stage 3, they seem to be struggling quite a lot, and today they have shown they can go toe-to-toe with at least the best team in Europe, at least from standings perspectives. They're still in the game. They can still try and win this out and move to the grand finals for the 2nd year in a row. As this is basically a rematch of the grand finals we had the last time around, as Virtue just misses the head there. It was Renshiro to try to go aggressive. Very tight angle.
God, that is a terrifying angle. That's the sort of angle that I'm worried I'm going to start seeing in ranked a lot more.
You will, definitely.
That is just a nightmare, and both teams are obviously aware of it, and here we're getting the full stretch of it. Virtue as the sledge starts opening up some more, and that's going to force Renshiro further and further back. But to be fair, the player has been exceptional, and they've needed him over the previous 2 maps, as has Alems. And I know I've sort of said he struggled in the first 2, as he fairly did. Here, he has been a tour de force, especially in the most recent round. Obviously, he sort of kept everything locked down on what could have been an absolutely terrifying G2 rush.
Definitely terrifying rush as a Nitro gets used, but to no avail. Not a single point of damage done onto the G2 members. Just patiently trying to work their ways into the side. A very creative yokai drone out there into that kitchen. Could be used, for example, to first of all give away some information for potential nitros, but also could just quickly hop up and deny a potential exothermic as that grenade misses. That's why you reinforce that way, just to bounce those grenades back. It makes the throw just a little bit more difficult, and as a result they won't be able to clear the mute jammers, I believe, that are currently placed in that triple wall. Yes, mute jammers.
Wow, Junker's going to see if he can line up the grenade close. It's pretty impossible drop to take in the best of times, but there's at least a little bit of safety. There it is, a close swing, and that's unfortunate. Renshiro gets the double, so the post-mortem nade actually finds Rafal in the meantime. Maybe didn't know that had come through. Citizen has one more, but the diffuser being down in Moto makes things a little bit trickier. Utilizes behind the explosive to try and get a little bit of momentum. There's an echo drone though, and that's going to be a bit of a frustration as there's a big call coming through. 20 seconds, and Hungary is making a hefty move, I believe, around onto Oil Pit as well. They're going to see if they can force 2 fights, but the first goes away from them. They at least battle back. There's a swing round close. Citizen somehow wins it, but 15 seconds, and they still got to try and find a way through, and there's an echo still on the board as well. A deep dive from Hungary either side as Citizen goes to see if he can stick it, but Alems has a different story, and I said he was big in the previous round, and he's going to keep that size up.
Definitely was big indeed. Pushes through, gets that final kill. Citizen neutralized, and with that, it will be round 9. The first map and match point here for BDS. They have 4 rounds to clear it off and to head towards those grand finals, towards Team Empire. As quickly hovering over, just checking in on the cameras of the players. Pretty relaxed BDS actually. They know, of course, they have 4 rounds to spare. They could theoretically lose 3 and then win 1 round and still win the entire series. But there's always the threat of Citizen who... Okay, it sounds crazy, right? The man is on 56 kills, but he hasn't quite been able to get into the game as much as he did in the previous 2 maps. Just 9 kills.
Just 9?
Just 9 kills.
Just 9.
It's below average for him right now.
But I think, to be honest, I think one of the things as well is that, okay, in the first map, as pointed out by Dez on the desk, when G2 won the opener of the day, Citizen had almost as much kills as the rest of his team put together. Yeah. In the second map, it wasn't. We had some great showings from pretty much every single G2 player, had moments. But BDS, they've sort of been a little bit hit and miss with that. And here, to be fair, they still are. Obviously, Rafal and Shaiko haven't quite connected. But you're now looking at Alems and Renshiro, who Renshiro started to show up in the second map, and Alems has now shown up alongside in the third map. And that is a bit of a difference maker right now, because that control of those 2 key players, because it's not just a huge fragger popping off. And I know it's something that Fresh said on the desk where, you know, we can always celebrate fraggers having great games. You can talk about Citizen, you can talk about Shaiko, but a lot of it does come from how much is allowed to them by the team and how it comes together as a team. Renshiro and Alems are generally more backline players. Their role is very structural. Alems trying to find early engagements and take bodies out, and Renshiro being that hefty backline and them succeeding is a very different story.
It definitely is, and Renshiro, talking about him, almost gets a grenade right underneath him. Bunch of shotgun holes being opened up, but it could be counting as a bit of a distraction as instantly saw the next grenade to be pulled out, but going to be tossed in the end. Has no clue, of course, where Renshiro is headed towards. Drones are coming out, however. G2 need to win this round and the next 4 or 3 after, rather, if they want to stay in the game. Something BDS had to do as well. They needed to win a couple of those map and match points on Bank. Of course, it was a lot closer back then. Citizen is starting to sneak up. It's a Nitro that gets tossed over. He's off the Finca now. He's up to the Yana. Back on the ARX.
That's it. Gonna see if he can try and just fight his way through the same way he's able to deliver some bites earlier on throughout the day. And get a little bit more destruction here. I'm assuming the rest of those X-Kairos was on the shower wall, and that's gonna force that shower player to pull out. And had the Thunderbird just on the top, and does still obviously have a frag grenade in pocket. If they can try and catch towards the top there, it could be devastating, but instead the fight might go towards Renshiro, who's still inside logistics, still inside a position of power and still able to try and pull them apart. And again, you look at what's been taken by them. BDS, at this point, they were knocking on the door of logistics and the site itself. They took fights. Ooh, and they didn't quite take that C4.
He was going to get that one, but he didn't. And that means there's 60 seconds left. The main weapon of G2 has been taken out of the equation here. And now the rest of G2 need to push through. It's their time to shine. It's Hungry that gets the very first and brings it back to a 4-on-4. A bit of cover is out there, but smoke canisters block their line of sight into the gym. As 45 seconds are on the clock, they need to start pushing through. There's still a yokai in place. The kills and the trades are continuing to happen here. And as the plant surely goes through soon, it's the yokai that gets taken out next. 2-on-2, and we continue going on for the trade.
Now they're going to see if they can try and fight their way back through. Virtue's baiting on a plant on the opposite side as Hungry has all the lockdown and control he can muster here behind the gym materials. They're going to see if the solidity is all that it can keep, but it's the swing round, it's the BDS round, and it's the end of the road as we find BDS are maneuvering forward and G2 so close, but unfortunately it goes the way of the French.
It definitely does. We have some nice music with it as well. Of course, not a French operator, it's Spanish. That's the nice thing, I guess, from the whole Elite customization. We get these nice intros.
Yeah.
But either way, 56 kills in total for Citizen. Not enough to close out the series here. It's BDS that take it in the end, as they were just fired up a bit too much for that last map for Citizen to handle.
It was a great showing from G2, and I think in a strange way it's a bit of a somber story for them because their worst showing was their recent split and a recent flaunt in the qualifiers. This was great siege and could have been their series were it not for a couple of mistakes on a middle map that I'm sure they'll be thinking about for the rest of the day, but they should also take some comfort in how they were able to play across at least those first 2 maps. There were those moments that you go, this is something.
Exactly. I don't think many of people would have predicted actually that G2 was able to bring it this close to BDS. And sure, a lot of it relied on to Citizen getting multiple kills, but we mentioned it before as well. The rest of the team set themselves up in a way so that he could perform like this. But before the map is being broken down even more by the analysts, we head out to a very quick break.